we are gonna go back down Prospekt Mira. But I'll just walk a little bit. I'll do the fast forward thing here so you can actually see it without the street sounds. Okay, so the angle is a little bit odd here, but that's because I'm not using my tripod. I'm using the actual lamp that's on the table here. I am in a restaurant. It's actually a chain. I didn't realize that until coming here, but there aren't a lot of places to grab a drink slash find a good place to eat here on Alekseyevskaya. There's a lot of like smaller local ones, but anyway, this is Broom's. I got a cocktail. It's a guava banana. I don't remember what exactly is in it. I will put all that information at the bottom of the screen. But so at the beginning of all of this, the Metro Alekseyevskaya area, I mentioned that this was going to be a little bit different, and hopefully this background noise is not too bad here. What I meant by that is not only had I come here a week ago with my wife and walked around and seen a lot of this stuff, but also on the following Tuesday, I believe, so a few days later, I came on my bicycle and I rode around in the other half, because Prospekt Mira has been kind of a defining line through this whole region, and I didn't cross that, even though the metro sits right on the road. You would imagine that, well, if it's a 1 kilometer radius circle, then half of that circle is going to be on the other side of the road. Well, I decided to go through it on my bicycle, take a look at what was there, and, well, that's what you're going to take a look at right now. While you're watching and getting a look at that other half of the Alekseyevskaya area, I'm also going to be sharing some thoughts about this area, just in terms of how it fits in historically, what I think about what changes are happening here, both architecturally. We saw a lot of new buildings. We also saw quite a few old buildings that are kind of being preserved and things of that nature. So I'm going to use the video that I shot while on the bicycle so you can see what the other half of this area looks like, and maybe also understand why I'm not doing a foot tour of it. And then, yeah, I'm just going to share some of my overall thoughts. And then when we come back, yeah, we'll discuss maybe a little bit of things moving forward, but I mean, sweet, what are you going to get? But anyway, I'm going to finish this drink. You guys are going to check out that bike tour with the deeper thoughts, and we'll be back here in just a second. Here at the beginning, to get started, I want everyone to know that the video you are seeing is double speed here. So if you feel like it's going by too fast, or you really just want to take in the neighborhood feel free to mute the video, watch it at half speed, and you'll see it go by in real time. I personally don't really think that's necessary, however. See, the Alekseyevskaya region represents something that I think we'll be seeing more of in the future as we get out into other residential neighborhoods further from the center, beyond the third ring road, that were really only constructed in the decades after World War II. In the case with Alekseyevskaya, aside from the pumping station buildings that we saw at the Silver Fountain residential complex in the first video, and some of those massive Stalinist era behemoth residential buildings along Prospekt Mira, which we have seen in both videos at this point in time, like Narkom Prom that we saw in the second video, the majority of the region up until the last few years here was like that quieter, calmer, greener Soviet neighborhood we went through in the last video. The age of most buildings in the Alekseyevskaya region date back to the 1960s and 1970s and are, or were, no different from the countless other Soviet neighborhoods of that era. Nothing to really make them special in any particular way. For that reason, when I see Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin's massive renovation project underway here, with those very Soviet buildings being replaced by newer complexes, one of which you'll see here quite soon, I'm pretty okay with that. In fact, there's something almost poetic about it. After all, those Soviet residential buildings were thrown together to address a shortage of housing and also to modernize and improve people's living condition back in the day. Now, while it might be argued as to how well it's being done currently, modernization and improvement of available housing is, again, the stated motivation of the mayor's current project, which began nearly a decade ago, and which was originally only supposed to affect 5,000 buildings and finish in 2032, and has since become never-ending. Officially, they literally said it is now never-ending since 2024, but I digress. As I was saying, when I see parts of the city like Alekseyevskaya, where that process of renewal, if you will, is taking place, it feels appropriate, cyclical. There were also plenty of industrial territories in this region as well, something which is fairly common beyond the third ring road everywhere in this city. And those spaces, in a sense, are already quote-unquote lost to the general populace, so raising them, leveling them to the ground, and building modern residential buildings there doesn't upset most people, myself included. So I want to highlight that I think the city doing their renovation project in these types of neighborhoods or regions feels natural. I know I sometimes come across as being against all modern construction, but that's really not the case. Now, granted, I have a few other qualms with the renovation project on the whole, but that's a topic for another video. The main thing here is that they keep most of the buildings of the older regions, not just for Alekseyevskaya, but everywhere around the city. Only sprinkle in some of the newer developments, keep the architecture and the overall style of Moscow the motley mess that it has always been. Everything in moderation, basically, is what I'm saying. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Alekseyevskaya region and what we've seen here walking around. It was something that I often think about walking around the city, but with Alekseyevskaya, they all coalesced into a coherent idea, if you will. Hopefully, with this video, you've been enjoying the ride thus far. I don't plan on doing this for every region in the future, but for those that are a bit further out from the center, a bit more spread out, residential, I think I might do the bike ride through them, cover these, well, again, quieter regions this way, so then that way you can see it all a bit faster, a bit smoother. I don't know. If that sounds like a good idea, let me know in the comments. If you're interested in seeing just more of the city that there's really nothing to see in, just where people live. I'm not going to go traipsing around covering every single square meter, but going through on a bicycle, I feel like is a nice compromise. So as I said, let me know in the comments what you think about all of that. Okay, so now you all have seen what is on the other side of Prospekt Mira. You got a pretty good idea of my general thoughts about the area on the whole. And I finished my drink, so I do believe it is time for me to pay the bill and get us out of here. We'll be outside in just a second. All right, well, there it is. Had the drink. We had the walk around the Alekseyevskaya region. The metro is right back up there where that billboard is. In fact, that's where we started. So we've done effectively one large loop. I'm actually going to take us back there, but yeah, at this point in time, I think I explained everything pretty well. I think from here on out, what I'm going to do, even though initially my overall thought was to go into these areas completely blind, after Okruzhnaya and Alekseyevskaya, and honestly, even Krasnoselskaya, that's probably not a good idea. Either there's too much history, and going into a blind just is a situation then where I'm missing a bunch of stuff, or you have an area where there really isn't that much, and if I don't know, I just end up walking around, well, residential neighborhoods. Like, for example, all of that stuff I biked through was over back that way, and there's really nothing to see back there. That's the story. So yeah, in the future, I think what I'm going to do is, like I said, bike through those areas, especially if they're ones I'm unfamiliar with, because A, it's good weather, I want to go out for a bike ride, but B, gives me a chance to, again, just film everything, and then that way I got B-roll if I need it. But also it means that I can kind of navigate things a little bit better and make the whole tour experience perhaps a little bit more interesting. So we are, at this point in time, back where we started. The sun really has not changed. It was over there and now it's over there, but I guess that's summer. So at this point in time, you already know what the following stations are going to be. I'm actually going to do that at the end of the first video, so you'll have seen that already. So I guess I'm just going to go get on the metro and head back home, and I don't know where the next station is going to be. You already do. So I guess I'll see you there. But until then, this has been Russian Context. Thanks for watching.